The envelope felt heavy in my hands, heavier than paper should. 5 years I'd kept it hidden, waiting for this exact moment. My grandfather's elegant handwriting hadn't faded. For Martina, open only when they try to take what's yours. I'm Martina, and tonight my parents are about to give away my house. Not technically my house yet, at least not as far as they know. But the lakeside cottage has been my sanctuary since I was little, the only place where I truly felt loved, thanks to my grandfather René. "Martina, get down here!" My mother's shrill voice carried up the stairs. "Everyone's waiting!" I tucked the envelope back into its hiding spot and smoothed my dress, preparing my face for another round of Charlotte's engagement celebration. The party had been going for hours, but Mother insisted on gathering everyone for a special announcement. The living room was packed with familiar faces, relatives, neighbours, friends, all orbiting around my younger sister Charlotte and her fiancé Moses like they were the sun and moon. Charlotte caught my eye as I entered, flashing that practiced beauty queen smile she'd perfected since childhood. "There you are," my father boomed, glass of whiskey in hand. "We couldn't make our announcement without both our girls present." Both their girls, right, as if they'd ever treated us equally. "Everyone!" My mother clinked her glass, her voice dripping with manufactured elegance. "Collins and I have been blessed with 2 wonderful daughters, and now that our baby Charlotte has found her perfect match in Moses, we want to give them something special." I felt it coming before she said it, the way she avoided my gaze, the slight tremor in her voice, not from emotion, but from the thrill of orchestrating her perfect moment. "We're giving them the lake house," she announced, "a wedding present to start their new life together." The room erupted in appreciative gasps and applause. Charlotte squealed and hugged Moses, who looked slightly uncomfortable. I remained still, my face carefully neutral, as relatives gushed about how generous my parents were, how lucky Charlotte was. "Isn't it wonderful?" Zoe, Charlotte's best friend, sidled up to me. "Though I suppose you'll miss having a place to crash when your freelance work runs dry." I smiled tightly. "Thanks for your concern, Zoe." "Martina, darling," my mother called out, "come congratulate your sister." I walked over, accepting Charlotte's practiced hug. She whispered in my ear, "Don't worry, you can visit sometimes, if you call first." "How thoughtful of you," I murmured back. My father clapped Moses on the shoulder. "Son, that house has been in our family for generations. René, the girl's grandfather, he loved that place. We know you'll take good care of it." I watched my mother beam at Charlotte, remembered all the times she'd criticised my career choices, my single status, my inability to fit in. Remembered my grandfather's last conversation with me, his knowing look when he handed me that envelope. "Excuse me," I said quietly. "I need to make a call. Nobody noticed me slip away. They never did." I pulled out my phone and dialed a number I'd memorised years ago. "Cade Robertson's office." "Hi, this is Martina Wilkinson. I need to execute that trust document we discussed. They just announced giving away the house." A pause. "Are you sure about this? Once we serve those papers—" "I'm sure." I watched through the window as my family celebrated, blissfully unaware of what was coming. It's time they learned about Grandpa's real legacy. I'll have everything ready for tomorrow morning. I hung up and touched the wall where I knew the envelope was hidden. Tomorrow they'd learn that the house had never been theirs to give away. Tomorrow they'd discover what real family loyalty looked like. My phone buzzed, a text from my friend Wren. "Did they do it?" "Yes," I typed back, "but they have no idea what's coming." Downstairs, champagne corks popped. Charlotte's laughter floated up, followed by my mother's voice planning renovations they'd never get to make. I should have felt guilty about what I was about to do. Instead, I felt nothing but a cold, satisfying certainty. I rejoined the party, accepting a glass of champagne. My mother was already discussing paint colours with Charlotte. My father was showing Moses where he thought they should build a dock. To the happy couple, I raised my glass, my smile never reaching my eyes, and to family loyalty. They had no idea those words were a declaration of war. You always were the smart one, little fox. The memory of Grandpa René's voice was so clear, I could almost smell his pipe tobacco. 5 years ago, we'd sat in his study at the lake house, autumn leaves dancing outside the window. "Your parents," he'd said, shuffling through papers on his desk. "They don't see what I see in you, Martina, but they will." Now, sitting across from Cade in his downtown office, that conversation felt like yesterday. The attorney spread the trust documents across his desk, pointing to key sections with his pen. "Your grandfather was very thorough," Cade said. "The house was transferred to this trust on your 23rd birthday. You've been the legal owner for 5 years, and my parents never knew. René was explicit about keeping it quiet until necessary. He knew they'd try something like this eventually." I picked up the original deed, my grandfather's signature bold across the bottom. "What happens now?" "We serve them notice tomorrow morning. They'll have 30 days to vacate the property." Cade leaned back, studying me. "Are you absolutely certain about this? Family wars can get ugly." My phone buzzed. Another gloating text from Charlotte about paint samples. I switched it off. "They made their choice," I said. "Now they can live with it." "There's something else you should know." Cade pulled out another document. "Your grandfather left a letter explaining why he did this. Want to read it?" I shook my head. "Not yet. I need to do this first." Driving back to the engagement party, I parked down the street, watching guests leave. Through the front windows, I could see my mother holding court in the living room, probably still basking in her generous gesture. My phone buzzed again. Wren this time. "You okay?" she texted. "Getting there," I replied. "Meeting with the lawyer went well." "Want company?" "No. Need to handle this solo." I slipped in through the side door, hearing voices from the kitchen. Charlotte and Moses were there with my parents, discussing renovation plans. "The master bedroom needs updating," my mother was saying. "That old wallpaper your grandfather loved, Shah. It has to go." "We could knock out that wall," my father added. "Open up the view to the lake." I lingered in the hallway, my heart pounding. They were already planning to destroy everything Grandpa René had built. "Moses, dear," my mother continued, "you'll love it there. René built that house with such care, though he did have some unusual ideas about family legacy." "Speaking of legacy," Charlotte's voice dripped honey, "Martina seemed upset earlier. Maybe we should offer to let her keep some of Grandpa's old things." "Oh, she'll get over it," my mother dismissed. "She always does. Besides, what would she do with a house like that? No husband, no children. Living alone in that big house," my father chuckled. "People would talk." I'd heard enough. I stepped into the kitchen doorway, making them all jump. "Don't worry about me," I said quietly. "I know exactly what to do with that house." "Martina," my mother's face shifted to forced concern. "We were just discussing—" "I heard what you were discussing." I moved to the coffee maker, pouring myself a cup with steady hands. "By the way, you might want to hold off on those renovation plans." Charlotte's eyes narrowed. "What's that supposed to mean?" "You'll find out tomorrow." I sipped my coffee, savouring their confused expressions. "Just remember, Grandpa René did have some unusual ideas about family legacy." "What are you talking about?" My father's voice held an edge of worry. "Like I said, tomorrow." I set down my cup and headed for the door. "Oh, and Mom, that wallpaper you hate? Grandpa picked it out special. He told me the story once. Shame you never asked him about it." I left them standing there, Moses looking increasingly uncomfortable. Outside, the night air felt clean, washing away years of swallowed words and forced smiles. My phone buzzed one last time. Cade confirming tomorrow's timeline. The papers would be served at 9 a.m. sharp. I drove home to my apartment, thinking about that day in Grandpa's study. "Little fox," he'd called me. "Sometimes the quiet ones have the sharpest teeth." Tomorrow, they'd learn just how right he was. I pulled out my phone and finally texted Wren back. "It's done. No going back now." Her reply came instantly. Good. Time they learned who they've been underestimating all these years. I fell asleep that night, dreaming of my grandfather's smile, of autumn leaves, and of justice long overdue. The first call came at 9:17 a.m. I watched my father's name flash across my phone screen as I sat in my favourite coffee shop, counting the seconds. By 9:45 I had 12 missed calls, 23 text messages, and one very interesting email from Moses. "Your mother's hysterical," Wren reported from her position across the street from my parents' house. "The courier just left. You should see them running around like someone lit their designer clothes on fire." I stirred my latte, surprisingly calm. "Anyone else show up yet?" "Charlotte just pulled in. She's still in her car, crying on the phone." My phone buzzed again. This time I answered. "How dare you?" My mother's voice cracked with rage. "After everything we've done for you, everything you've done for me?" I kept my voice level, like trying to give away my house. "Your house?" She laughed, high and brittle. "That house has been in your father's family for... and now it's in my name, legally. Check the trust documents." Silence. Then, "Your grandfather wouldn't..." "Wouldn't what? Protect me? See through your favouritism? He did both, 5 years ago." The line went dead. I checked my messages. Most were variations of "call immediately" and "how could you?" But Moses's email stood out. "Martina, we need to talk. There's something you should know. Meet me at Carlo's diner at noon. Just us." I showed Wren the message. She frowned. Could be a trap. "Moses isn't like them. He's always been decent to me." My phone exploded with Charlotte's ringtone. I let it go to voicemail, then played it on speaker. "You vindictive bitch," Charlotte sobbed. "You're ruining everything. The wedding plans, our future. Mum's having a panic attack because of you." "Classic Charlotte," Wren muttered. "Always the victim." The next voicemail was different. Charlotte's voice had dropped to a whisper. "Please, Martina, can we talk? There's stuff you don't know about Mum and Dad, about the house." I texted Moses back. "Carlo's at noon. Come alone." The diner was nearly empty when I arrived. Moses sat in a back booth, looking exhausted. 2 coffee cups sat untouched in front of him. "Charlotte doesn't know I'm here," he said as I slid into the seat across from him. Smart man. "Look, I'm not taking sides, but..." He glanced around before continuing. "Your parents aren't just upset about losing the house. They're scared." "Of what?" "The trust documents mention an audit requirement. Something about financial records." I nodded slowly. Grandpa René had insisted on annual audits of the property's maintenance funds. "Your father's been using that account," Moses said quietly. "For years. Charlotte doesn't know." My phone buzzed. A text from my father. "We need to discuss terms. Name your price." "They're trying to buy me off," I showed Moses the message. "They can't afford to. That's the thing. They're broke. The big house, Charlotte's wedding, their whole lifestyle. It's all smoke and mirrors." Another text arrived, this one from Zoe. "You're breaking Charlotte's heart. Hope you're happy, you selfish cow." Moses winced. "Zoe's been..." stirring things up, "telling Charlotte you planned this to ruin her wedding." "And what do you think?" He met my eyes. "I think your grandfather knew exactly what he was doing." My phone lit up with a call from Cade. "Your parents' lawyer just reached out," he reported. "They're threatening to contest the trust." "On what grounds?" "They don't have any, but they're desperate. Your father's asking for a meeting." I looked at Moses, who was staring into his coffee. "Tell them no meeting, no negotiations. They have 30 days to vacate, and the audit starts tomorrow." "Martina," Moses said as I stood to leave, "be careful. Desperate people do desperate things." Outside, the spring air had turned cold. My phone kept buzzing. Family members choosing sides, friends asking questions, Charlotte alternating between threats and pleas. I texted Ren, "You were right, they're broke, and now they're scared." "Good," she replied, "they should be." A final message popped up from my mother. "You'll regret this. Family is forever." I smiled, thinking of Grandpa René's trust, his careful planning, his faith in me. "You're right, Mom," I typed back. "Family is forever. That's exactly why I'm doing this." Then I blocked their numbers, one by one, and headed home to wait for the storm I'd unleashed to gather strength. "Local family feud erupts over lakefront property," read the headline on my phone. I scrolled through the comments, watching strangers debate my life like a reality TV show. "Rich people problems," someone wrote. "The parents sound toxic AF," posted another. "Poor bride-to-be," a third chimed in. "Sister sounds jealous." Ren snatched my phone away. "Stop reading that garbage. You'll drive yourself crazy." We were hiding out at her apartment, day 4 of what social media had dubbed Lake House drama. My inbox was flooded with messages from distant relatives and old classmates, all suddenly interested in my family's dirty laundry. "Charlotte's posted another sob story," Ren reported, checking her own phone. "Says you're destroying the family over a house." "Show me." The video showed my sister, eyes perfectly tear-stained, sitting in what looked like her bedroom. "I just don't understand," she sniffled. "We were always so close." "Close?" I laughed. "Like when she told my high school boyfriend I was cheating on him? Or when she accidentally deleted my college application essays?" My phone rang, a number I didn't recognize. "Martina speaking." "It's Moses, using a friend's phone since you blocked everyone. We need to talk. It's about your grandfather." I put him on speaker. "Go on." "I found something in your father's study, letters between him and René, from right before René died. They were fighting about the house, but not just about ownership. There was something else." A text interrupted. Charlotte again from a new number. "Remember when we were kids? When you promised we'd always protect each other? Please, Martina, I need my sister." The memory hit hard. Charlotte, age 7, crawling into my bed during a thunderstorm. "You'll always keep me safe, right?" "Martina?" Moses was still talking. "These letters. Your grandfather mentioned a hidden safe behind his old desk at the lake house. What's in it?" "Don't know, but your father's desperate to get in there before the audit." Another notification popped up. Zoe had posted photos from last Christmas, carefully edited to show Charlotte and me looking happy together. The caption read, "Family is everything, praying for reconciliation, like save the wedding." "Your father's been asking around about breaking into the house," Moses continued. "He's getting reckless." "Let him try," I said. "The security system logs everything." After hanging up, I checked my email. 3 wedding vendors had cancelled on Charlotte, citing family complications. The local country club was reconsidering hosting her reception. "They're imploding," Ren observed. My phone buzzed again. A text from my mother's sister, Aunt Rita. "Found this while cleaning. Thought you should see it." The attached photo showed teenage Charlotte and me at the lake house, arms around each other, laughing. But I remembered that day. Minutes after the photo, Charlotte had pushed me into the lake, ruining my new phone. "It was just a joke," she'd said while our parents laughed. A notification from the security company pinged, motion detected at the lake house. I pulled up the camera feed to see my father's car in the driveway. "Call the police," Ren said. "No." I watched him pace outside. "Let's see what he does." My father stood there for 10 minutes, just staring at the house. Finally, He got back in his car and left. "He's breaking down," Wren said softly. Another text from Charlotte. "Mum's not eating. Dad's drinking again. Please, can we just talk?" I started typing. "Remember when I got that scholarship? And you told everyone I cheated to get it?" Delete. "Remember when I brought my first boyfriend home? And you told him I was the practice sister?" Delete. "Remember every Christmas, birthday, family dinner when they made me feel invisible?" Delete. Instead, I sent, "The house was never about you, Charlotte." Her reply came instantly. "Then what is it about?" I thought about Grandpa Rene's study, about the safe Moses mentioned, about all the secrets still buried in that house. "Truth," I texted back. "It's about truth." My phone lit up with a news alert. Local wedding called off amid family property dispute. Wren touched my arm. "You okay?" I showed her my last text from Moses. "Found more letters. Your grandfather knew something big, something that could explain everything. Meet tomorrow?" "Yeah," I said, watching another wave of notifications roll in. "I'm okay, but this isn't over yet." "Good," Wren replied, "because I don't think Charlotte's the only one who needs to learn the truth." Moses slid a manila envelope across the coffee shop table. "Your father didn't just take money from the maintenance account," he said. "He's been forging documents for years." I opened the envelope, pulling out bank statements and letters. "How did you get these?" "Charlotte found them while packing her things. She's moved out of their house." That made me look up. "What?" "Your mother tried to pressure her into signing over her trust fund to cover their debts. Charlotte refused." He stirred his coffee nervously. "She's staying with me, but she's a mess. The wedding's officially cancelled." I spread the papers across the table. Most were correspondence between my father and various banks dating back years. "These signatures, your grandfather's," Moses nodded, "forged after his death to keep accessing accounts." My phone buzzed. Cade calling. "The auditors found something," he said when I answered. "Your father's been embezzling from multiple family trusts, not just yours. We're talking serious fraud." "How much?" "Millions, and that's just what we've found so far." I hung up, feeling sick. Moses watched me carefully. "There's more," he said. "Charlotte wanted me to give you this." He handed me a folded note. My sister's handwriting was shaky. I never wanted the house. Mum and Dad pushed it, like they pushed everything. "I'm sorry, there's something in Grandpa's study you need to see. The combination to the safe is our birthdays." "Have you told anyone else about this?" I asked Moses. "No, but—" His phone chimed. He checked it and went pale. "Your mother just posted something. It's bad." I pulled up social media. My mother had shared a long post about her mentally unstable eldest daughter and her pattern of destructive behaviour. She'd included childhood photos and twisted stories about my jealousy and manipulation. "She's trying to get ahead of the fraud allegations," Moses said quietly. My phone exploded with notifications. Friends asking if I was okay, relatives choosing sides, local news requesting comments. "Martina," Wren texted urgently, "your father's at the lake house again, with tools." "Call the police," I told her. "I'm on my way." Moses grabbed my arm. "Wait, take this." He handed me another envelope. "More letters from your grandfather. He knew about the fraud. That's why he set up your trust the way he did." I drove to the lake house fast, arriving just as police cars pulled up. My father stood on the porch, bolt cutters in hand, looking nothing like the powerful man I remembered. "You can't keep me out of my own house," he shouted when he saw me. "It was never your house," I said calmly, "and those aren't your accounts you've been stealing from." He froze. "What are you talking about?" "The forged signatures, Dad. The embezzlement. Grandpa knew, didn't he? That's why he protected me." "You don't understand," he started, but police officers were already approaching him. My phone rang. Charlotte. For the first time in days, I answered. "Is Dad there?" she asked immediately. "The police are arresting him." A shaky breath. Good. Mum's having a meltdown. She's threatening to go to the media with more stories about you. Let her try. I have proof of everything. Martina, Charlotte's voice cracked. I found Mum's old diaries, the things they did to you, the way they planned it all. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know. I watched the police lead our father to their car. "Come to the house tomorrow. We'll open the safe together." "You'd let me." "You chose truth over lies. That counts for something." After everyone left, I stood alone in Grandpa's study. The safe waited behind his portrait, holding whatever secrets had driven my father to desperation. My phone lit up with a text from Ren. "Your mother's post backfired. People are sharing stories about how your parents treated you. The tide's turning." Another message popped up from Cade. "The fraud investigation's going public tomorrow. Your parents may face criminal charges." Finally, Charlotte. "Thank you for giving me a chance. I'll bring coffee tomorrow. And Martina, I'm sorry for everything." I touched Grandpa's portrait gently. "You knew, didn't you?" I whispered. "You knew they'd self-destruct eventually. Tomorrow, the safe would reveal its secrets. Tomorrow, Charlotte would learn the full truth about our parents. Tomorrow, the world would know exactly what kind of people they really were. But tonight, standing in my house, truly my house, I felt nothing but peace." "Local business leader arrested for fraud," blazed across my phone screen. Below it, my father's mugshot stared back at me, his face ashen, his carefully maintained image shattered. Charlotte arrived at the lake house exactly on time, carrying coffee and looking like she hadn't slept in days. "Mum's gone completely off the rails," she said, handing me a cup. "She's calling everyone we know, trying to spin this." I heard. I led her to Grandpa's study. She told Aunt Rita I'm working with the FBI to destroy the family. "Well, technically," Charlotte managed a weak smile. "The FBI did interview Dad this morning." The safe waited behind the portrait. My hand shook slightly as I entered the combination, my birthday, then Charlotte's. "I always wondered why he had both our birthdays on everything," Charlotte said softly, "even after they started. You know." The safe clicked open. Inside, we found 3 things: a thick folder of documents, a USB drive, and an envelope marked "For my girls, when the truth comes out." "You should read it," Charlotte whispered. I opened the envelope carefully. Grandpa Renee's familiar handwriting filled several pages. "My dearest granddaughters, if you're reading this, the truth about your parents has finally surfaced. I discovered your father's fraud scheme years ago, but proving it meant playing a long game." Charlotte gasped as we read further. The documents detailed years of systematic theft, not just from family accounts, but from charities, business partners, even Charlotte's trust fund. "They've been stealing from me," Charlotte's voice cracked. "From everyone," I said, scanning the papers. "Grandpa caught Dad forging signatures back when we were kids. That's when the favoritism started." "What do you mean?" "They pushed you forward, made you the golden child, a distraction. While everyone watched you succeed, they could hide what they were doing." My phone buzzed, Cade calling. "Turn on the news," he said without preamble. I pulled up a live stream. Our mother stood outside her house, perfectly dressed despite everything, speaking to reporters. "My daughters have been turned against me by malicious lies," she declared, "especially Martina, who's always been troubled." The feed cut off abruptly. A newscaster appeared. "We're receiving reports of additional fraud charges being filed against Natalia and Collins." Charlotte's phone chimed repeatedly, messages flooding in from wedding guests, friends, her former bridesmaids. "They're all picking sides," she said numbly. "Zoe's already posted 3 times calling me a traitor for talking to you." "Speaking of talking," I pulled out the USB drive. "Should we see what else Grandpa left us?" The drive contained videos, dozens of them. Grandpa René recording himself over the years, documenting everything he'd discovered. "Your father thinks he's clever," Grandpa said in one clip, "using Charlotte as a shield, but my Martina sees through it. She's stronger than they know." Charlotte touched the screen gently. "He really loved you." "He loved us both," I corrected. "He was trying to protect you too." My phone lit up with breaking news. Prominent socialite accused of charity fraud, millions missing from Children's Hospital Fund. "Mum's foundation," Charlotte whispered. "All those fundraisers were fake," I finished, "like everything else." Ren texted, "Your mother's being interviewed live. She's throwing your father under the bus." We watched as our mother, tears perfectly timed, told reporters how she'd been deceived and manipulated by her husband. "She's good," Charlotte said bitterly. "I almost believe her myself." "That's because we were raised on her lies." More notifications poured in. Former family friends distancing themselves, business partners denying knowledge of the fraud, Zoe posting increasingly desperate defences of our mother. "What do we do now?" Charlotte asked. I looked at the stack of evidence Grandpa had collected. "We tell the truth, all of it." "They'll hate us." "They already do. At least this way we honour Grandpa's legacy." My phone rang. Moses. "Your mother's trying to access Charlotte's accounts," he reported. "I've frozen everything she might reach." "Thank you," Charlotte said when I relayed the message, "for helping us both." I squeezed her hand. That's what real family does. We spent hours going through Grandpa's files, each revelation worse than the last. By evening, both our parents had been arrested, their carefully constructed world collapsing completely. "Stay here tonight," I offered Charlotte. "The house is big enough." She looked around Grandpa's study at the evidence of his love for us scattered everywhere. Maybe this is what he wanted all along. Us, together, finding the truth. "Maybe," I agreed, watching the sun set over the lake. Or maybe he just knew that sometimes justice takes time. Outside, reporters gathered at the property line, waiting for statements we wouldn't give. Not yet. First, we had years of lies to unravel together. "Guilty on all counts," Cade announced, closing his laptop. "Your father took a plea deal. Your mother's going to trial." 1 month had passed since the arrest. Charlotte and I sat in the lake house kitchen, absorbing the news over coffee. Outside, moving trucks waited to take our parents' belongings into storage. Everything they owned now tied up in asset forfeiture. 10 years, Charlotte murmured. "Dad's getting 10 years. My phone buzzed. Another media request for interviews. I'd stopped counting after the first 100. "Mum's lawyer called again," Charlotte said. "She wants us to speak as character witnesses at her trial." "Of course she does." I deleted the latest email from our mother's legal team. "Did you read her latest letter?" Charlotte pulled out a crumpled envelope. "My darling girls, you've been deceived by your grandfather's vindictive lies." She stopped reading. "I can't believe I used to fall for this." "We both did. For years." The doorbell rang. Moses, carrying boxes of documents from the forensic accountants. "They found more accounts," he said, setting them down. "Your mother had offshore holdings we didn't know about." "How much this time?" I asked. "Enough to put her away for 20 years. Charlotte's phone chimed with a text. "Zoe's still trying to rally support for Mum online. She's organising a prayer vigil outside the courthouse." "Speaking of support," Moses said carefully, "your mother's sister is giving interviews. Rita's telling everyone how she always knew something was wrong in the family." I laughed bitterly. Funny how everyone always knew after the fact. The afternoon sun streamed through the windows as we sorted through the boxes. Each paper revealed new betrayals, charity funds drained, investments stolen, lives ruined beyond our family circle. "Look at this," Charlotte held up a document. "They took money from my wedding vendors. That's why everyone cancelled. The checks were bouncing. Your mother's foundation was a complete shell, Moses added. The children's hospital never saw a dime. My phone lit up with a news alert. Socialite's daughter speaks out. Charlotte breaks family silence. The article showed Charlotte's social media post from that morning. The truth about my parents is devastating, but hiding it caused more damage. I stand with my sister Martina in exposing their crimes. The comments are wild, Ren texted. People are sharing stories about your parents going back decades. Charlotte's eyes filled with tears. All those kids who needed help. The hospital programs that never got funded. It's not your fault, Moses squeezed her hand. Mistake, isn't it? I was their perfect distraction, their shield. A knock at the door interrupted us. The estate liquidators, ready to start cataloguing everything for the restitution process. We should check Grandpa's study one last time, I suggested. Make sure we didn't miss anything. The study looked emptier now, most of the evidence boxed up for prosecutors. But as we did a final sweep, Charlotte noticed something. The wallpaper, she said suddenly. Remember how Mum always hated it? She ran her fingers along the seam, finding a loose edge. Behind it, we discovered one last envelope taped to the wall. My dearest Martina and Charlotte, the letter inside began. If you're reading this, you've finally learned the whole truth. Your parents' crimes hurt many people, but their greatest sin was trying to turn you against each other. Never forget, the strongest legacies are built on love, not lies. Charlotte wiped her eyes. He knew, all those years, watching them manipulate us. He played the long game, Moses said quietly, making sure the truth would come out when you were both ready to handle it. My phone buzzed, Cade again. Your mother's lawyer quit. She's demanding a public defender. Good luck with that, Charlotte muttered. We spent the rest of the day clearing out the house, deciding what to keep and what to let go. Each room held memories, some tainted now by truth, others precious despite everything. What happens next? Charlotte asked as sunset painted the lake gold. The trial, I said. More media circus. Eventually, people will forget. And us? I looked at my sister, really looked at her, seeing past our parents' manipulation to the person she was becoming. We rebuild together. I'd like that, she whispered. My phone lit up one last time. A message from an unknown number. Your father wants to see you both, before they transfer him. Charlotte and I exchanged glances. No, we typed back together. Some bridges once burned should stay ashes. But as we watched the moving trucks drive away, carrying the remnants of our parents' false legacy, I felt something unexpected. Hope. Not for them. For us. The jury finds the defendant guilty on all counts. The courtroom erupted in whispers. My mother's perfect posture finally cracked as she slumped in her chair. Charlotte gripped my hand so hard it hurt. 18 years, the judge announced. No possibility of parole for 12. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed us. How do you feel about the verdict? They shouted. Will you visit your parents in prison? No comment. Moses guided us through the crowd to a waiting car. Back at the lake house, Ren had prepared dinner, but none of us felt like eating. The TV droned in the background, replaying clips from the trial. Look at this, Charlotte held up her phone. A notification from our mother's social media, her last post before being taken into custody. My daughters will regret their choices. The truth will come out. Still threatening us? I shook my head. Even now. Speaking of truth, Moses pulled out a folder. The hospital board sent this. They're using the recovered funds to build a new children's wing. They want to name it after Grandpa René, Charlotte added softly, for exposing the fraud. My phone buzzed, Cade calling. The restitution payments are processed, he reported. All the victims will be compensated, including Charlotte's trust fund, especially that. The judge made it a priority. I hung up and found Charlotte staring at the wall of family photos we'd rearranged. Most showed just us with Grandpa René now. All the fake, perfect family portraits gone. I keep thinking about what he said in that last letter, she mused. The strongest legacies are built on love, not lies. He was right, Moses squeezed her shoulder. A notification popped up. Zoe had finally deleted her Justice for Natalia social media accounts. The prayer vigils and support rallies had fizzled out once the evidence became public. Did you see Rita's latest interview? Ren asked. She's writing a book about being the sister who saw it all. Of course she is, Charlotte laughed darkly. Everyone wants to cash in. Speaking of cashing in, I pulled out an envelope. The publishing house sent another offer. They want our story, the real story. Should we do it? Only if we tell it our way. No sensationalism, no drama, just the truth. My phone lit up with a text from an unknown number, a prison email service. Our father, trying again. Girls, please, your mother and I need you. Charlotte read it over my shoulder. Without a word, we both blocked the number. You know what? Charlotte stood suddenly. Let's go swimming. Now? It's almost dark. Exactly. She was already heading for the door. Remember when we were kids? Before everything got complicated? The lake was cool and perfect. We floated under the stars, letting the water wash away the courthouse tension. On the shore, Moses and Ren built a small fire. I've been thinking, Charlotte said as we dried off, about what to do with my half of the restitution money. And the hospital needs volunteers for their new children's programs. I thought maybe you'd be perfect for that. Back by the fire, Moses handed us coffee. The media's finally moving on, he reported, checking his phone. Some celebrity scandal is taking over the headlines. Good, I said. Let someone else be the story. Charlotte leaned against me, both of us wrapped in towels like we used to do as kids. Thank you, she whispered, for not giving up on me. That's what real family does. My phone buzzed one last time. An email from Cade with photos attached. The Children's Hospital wing under construction. The sign would read, the René Centre for Healing. He'd love that, Charlotte smiled, using their stolen money to actually help people. That's the best revenge, Ren noted, living well and doing good. The fire crackled, sending sparks into the night sky. Tomorrow there would be more decisions to make, more healing to do. But tonight, sitting by our lake, surrounded by true family, I felt Grandpa René's presence in every gentle wave. Should we toast? Moses raised his coffee cup. To justice? No, Charlotte and I said together. To truth. To truth, everyone echoed. Above us, stars reflected on the water's surface, countless lights in the darkness, like truth itself, sometimes hidden, sometimes painful, but always, eventually, shining through. I looked at my sister, remembering Grandpa's words about legacies. Ours wouldn't be built on money or social status or perfect family photos. It would be built on something stronger, the courage to face truth, the wisdom to learn from it, and the love to heal through it, together.